So I wore my Star Trek Discovery shirt, but it's not even going to matter because when the camera's angled up here, you can't even see it. Anyway, I thought it was about time I followed through and reviewed Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Season 3 is about to begin in a couple of days, and in the lead up, I thought I would rewatch through Season 2 and just see if I missed anything, see if I enjoyed it any more or less. And I suppose the good news is I didn't enjoy any less. In fact, it was a big improvement on Season 1, which wasn't that hard to do, and it was almost like they spent most of their time repairing a lot of the damage that Season 1 had done. So I'm not sure how I'm going to break this down. I'm just going to talk a bit and hopefully cover all the important points about Discovery's Season 2. I think it started off fairly strongly, although the wedging in of Michael Burnham as Spock's half-sister, or however you want to name that, whatever you want to do with that, just again, sort of, it just seemed a little unnecessary. But overall, on the second watch through, it kind of worked. I wasn't too disturbed by it. Maybe it's because I was expecting it. It kind of went okay. The overarching story about the 7 signals, it got a little confusing throughout the season, but it kind of worked. It was a bit weird that at the start they said that all 7 signals appeared at the same time and there was all these interference and blah blah blah, and then through the season the 7 signals started appearing one by one instead. So that was a little unexplained. I did like that the story moved away from the Klingons a lot. They didn't explain how L'Rell changed so much. Not only did she grow her hair, but her head shape and everything changed dramatically. I suppose we're not supposed to notice that. But yeah, the Klingon stories were lighter on this season, and I really liked that. Mainly because of, I think the Klingon War story of Season 1 wasn't that great. Wasn't it? Especially how it ended anyway. The inclusion of Anson Mount as Christopher Pike was amazing. He did a really good job. Obviously circumstances, he had to take command of the Discovery for this season's story to go on, and that was fine. We didn't see the Enterprise much until the end of the season, but then that was good because this is an Enterprise, it's a Discovery, so that was fine. It seemed the first half of the season was based around some of the original story, tying up elements of Season 1 with a mycelial network, Teal'c's ghost friend, all that kind of stuff. And then the second half of the season felt almost like it was written by a different crew. Well, there was the change of staff halfway through Season 2, where there was the higher-ups were fired and replaced, so perhaps that explains it, where the whole rogue AI storyline came into play. That was a little predictable. In fact, a lot of Season 2 kind of became a bit predictable towards the end. But it was still an interesting ride. Certainly on the second time through, I appreciated it a lot more. The first time, there was a lot more that bothered me. One of the big flaws, I think, the season really could have, and I think Discovery in general could do better with. It's a serialized story. It was so bloody obvious when one of the characters was going to die, because in the very episode it happened, we started seeing stuff about their past and their interactions with other members of the crew. And it's like, well, if we'd seen these sprinkled through earlier episodes of the season, we'd have more of an invested interest in this person than just in this one episode. So I think it was really a missed opportunity. Serialized storytelling should really open itself up to that. In episode 1, you should be planting seeds for what's going to happen in episode 8, that sort of stuff. And it just seems that they don't quite get that yet. They're too busy trying to do fake outs and get you thinking in other directions than to actually do proper character development. And whilst Season 2 was a lot better at that than Season 1, I could actually tell you half the main crew's names of Discovery, I think there's still big room for improvement. Some of the good episodes, we visited Saru's home planet and got to see the effects of that. I thought the Baul were really well done. They were really intimidating, scary, different alien species. I thought that episode was really cool. But then you had the weird ones with the mycelial network and the returning of a supposedly dead character from season 1. Dr. Kolber comes back, and that just seems a bit weird to me. That episode, I call the Stranger Things episode. It's just a bit odd, but it was to tie up that storyline, I guess. And it did that, and then we got on to the other stuff with the sphere data and the rogue AI. The reason why we don't have holographic communications, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of an interesting interpretation anyway. And so we were bringing back familiar faces. Captain Pike, number 1. Okay, they were seen in the unscreened pilot, but everyone knows them. If you're into Star Trek, you know them. Spock comes back. Spock is brought into the story, much like Sarek and Amanda. Was he needed? I don't know. But then they had an episode where we went back to Talos 4, and that episode just also felt a bit unnecessary. They gave Spock this weird dyslexia, and his mind was going crazy, and the only way he could fix it was to go back to Talos 4. Didn't make sense. It just felt like they went there because they could, and because it was nostalgic and all this kind of stuff. It just felt a bit forced. And then there was the fake out with the Red Angel being Michael Burnham, turning out to be her mother, but then it was Michael. That was kind of, anyway. But there's more story development for the main character, but then we find out again how important she is to everything. And I mean, this started back in season 1, and then even episode 1, I mean, they beam over this guy who was a total ass, and you just know he's gonna die. And of course he dies, because he went up against Michael Burnham, and no one goes up against Michael Burnham. Now, I'm not trying to be that negative guy, but come on, that was so bloody obvious. Michael Burnham's not infallible. In fact, if she was a little less perfect, people might relate to her a bit better. Tilly went through her troubles with her ghost friend and going through the command training program. We got new characters. I really liked, I think she's Commander. I really liked Commander Reno, and she's a comedian. The actress is a comedian, and she brought that into her scenes. Apparently, the character was written for her, and I really enjoyed any time she was on screen because she just had something funny to say. Really didn't like Section 31. No, really over it. It was, we were, Giorgio comes in and is suddenly dictating to L'Rell how she should run her government. I don't think so. Again, this is one of those carryovers from season 1 Klingons that just doesn't work. The Klingons wouldn't stand for that. Why would they care what the Federation thinks of how they run their civilization? And then there's the whole thing of Ash and the baby. Okay, so baby gets sent to Boreth, which apparently has time crystals and time works differently there. And this is a monastery that Worf visited in Next Generation, and there's no mention of that. But okay, I can get by that. Again, that was another episode where we have nostalgia playing in, and Pike sees his future and all this sort of stuff. Kind of cool, kind of forced. But L'Rell tells everyone that Ash Tyler's dead. She killed him because he did some whatever. Spin forward to the final episode when L'Rell comes to the rescue with her cleave ship in that epic battle that was a lot of explosions and not much else. Ash Tyler's on the bridge of that ship. Isn't any of the other Klingons going, hang on a second, this guy dead? And why, it just, again, it's like people forget what they wrote earlier on in the season. And in the short amount of time between Saru's people evolving and doing their thing, they've learned how to fly spaceships. and are able to come to the fight as well. The final episode is probably the one I have the most criticism of, because that's the one that we're left with. And you know, it's just this thing of this big battle that didn't do anything. Rewind back, go to the original series. The sight of 4 Constitution class ships like the Enterprise was enough to strike fear into anybody who saw them. But then Discovery, it's all a numbers game. Oh, we have 30 ships, we've got more than you. Oh, count again, we've got 200. It's like, no, Star Trek was never about numbers as much. Okay, sure, Deep Space Nine, Dominion War, lots and lots of ships, because it was epic, because it looked good. The battle at the end of Discovery Season 2 was just explosions, was just ships flying everywhere. It was just spectacle. And the Enterprise and Discovery would have been taking on Section 31 ships, and that would have been enough. Section 31 had however many, I don't know, what did they have? However many, 20 ships or whatever that came in. The Enterprise and Discovery would have had to just fight them. They don't use shuttles to fight. They don't have these drone things. Certainly not in other Trek anyway. And that would have been enough. The Enterprise is a more than powerful enough ship that it doesn't need these other things. And then the battle turned into this very Ender's Game looking nonsensical stuff that was just, you know, so Michael Burnham can fly around in her suit and it can look amazing. It just wasn't necessary. And then of course then you have the reinforcements coming, which was kind of impressive, sure. Klingon cleave ships, great. That was fine. You could have had that without having 50 million ships flying around anyway. You know, the undetonated torpedo and the Enterprise sort of just, it seemed very convenient. And of course then we said farewell to another character in Cornwall. I mean, okay, good way for her to go. And I thought maybe this would be the damage to the Enterprise that would allow them to morph it into the original series Enterprise at the end of the episode when it was in dry dock. But no, they kept it looking as it does. And there's nothing wrong with how the Discovery reimagination of the Enterprise looks. It's just it doesn't fit in with how it looks when Kirk runs it later on. So I don't know if they're ever going to address that, or if they're just going to say this is how the Enterprise looked. Anyway, that's just another thing. I had mentioned earlier that we got to see more of the cast. I could tell you more of their names, but the character development wasn't there. The only other officer I could tell you that I could maybe care about, other than Michael, Tilly, and the main guys, Stamets and stuff, was Ariam. And that's because we had that one episode that was dedicated to her, and then that's it. Detmer didn't have anything about her. Forget the guys. Reese and couldn't even tell you the other guy's name. Even when Captain Pike left and he said his farewells and named everybody, he had the most to say about everyone except the guys. And I mean, I don't want to sound like that guy. It just seems a little out of balance. Yeah, so some missed opportunities. Now, looking forward to season 3. They're going when no Trek has gone before. They're going way into the future. And this will be unwritten territory. And it's probably, maybe it's going to be the best place for Discovery to be. It's been hinted at in the short Trek Calypso, where the Discovery was like 1,000 years in the future. The Federation, obviously, stuff's gone wrong there and whatnot, so we're going to find out all about that. I'm interested to see what happens. I hope it'll be some good stories. I hope it's not going to be... I'm just hoping it'll be good. Season 2 was a step in the right direction. I would have preferred if Season 2 was how Season 1 was. Season 1 only had a couple of shining moments for me, and the rest I could live without. Like if I was going to introduce someone to Discovery, I probably would just start with Season 2. But yeah, you know, it's going to be interesting to see in Season 3 how they are addressing things. I hope Commander Nhan is still around. She came over from the Enterprise. She was pretty good character, but the last we saw her was when she was battling Leland and she got knocked out. But she should still be on Discovery, so she should be in the future now. So hopefully she's still around. Liked her character. I don't know what they're going to do with Georgiou. Georgiou went with them, and apparently she's got her own Section 31 show coming. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. I'm not that interested in Section 31, but I say that I will probably watch it. To this Star Trek. If that show gets off the ground. And also, very excited for Strange New Worlds. Once this pandemic's over and they can get started with that, I'm very interested because it's going to be episodic and it's going to involve that Enterprise and that crew with Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine, Ethan Peck, and whoever else they're going to throw in. Give me some of that. I think it could be very good. I'm hoping it can be very good. I also know it could go the other way and be very bad. Yeah, but Strange New Worlds, sign me up. I will talk about Star Trek Picard at some point and Lower Decks when I can, because it hasn't officially been released in Australia. But yeah, that's about it. I think I've said all I wanted to say. I know I'm a bit late. Season 2 is well over, but I thought I'd give it some time, give it some thought. And yeah, so that'll do for this one. Thanks for watching. And I will see you in the next one. I'll bring up the shirt one more time. It's a pretty cool shirt. I've got used to the design of the Discovery now, so I'm not too thinking about it. But yeah, I just think it's a cool shirt. And yeah, so yeah, see you in the next one. Live long and prosper. Stay safe. All that stuff. Thanks, guys. Bye.